Honorable Chair, I identify myself, but I saw the back of myself, my hair and a little of my cloth.
Oh, so that was not you. Is that you?
It's me in the video. Thank you.
So can you tell us what you were doing here on that day?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm a member of the Appointments Committee, so I was here that day for the vetting of honorable nominees of His Excellency, the President John Dramani Mahama. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Rita Odoley Sowah, can you tell us exactly what you saw or you witnessed on that day? In summary.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We had carried on vetting to a level, and the next person to be vetted was Honorable Akando. It was agreed that he will be vetted that day. But when it got to his turn, our colleagues on the other side raised the issue of time. And so after that, for me, I was sitting there as a member waiting to hear from leadership. And then I saw that the argument started. And so I was watching and seeing what was going to transpire. Then I realized that our brothers on the other side said they were not going to agree for us to continue. And so what I also saw was that they started beating the table and said they were not going to agree, especially Honorable Anodompre. And I saw others joining in, and there was a little bit of a scuffle. And they were pulling the table that they would not allow the vetting to continue. And so I also just looked on, and I realized that they were carrying chairs, pulling the table. At a point, the leg of the table got broken, and they kept on fighting till the Marshal came in, the Clerk of Parliament also came in, and there was the argument for the Clerk of the Committee to swear in Honorable Akando, which the ranking and his team were also against it, asking that she doesn't do that. And so I'll speak to that point. Okay.
Thank you very much. Honorable colleagues, do you have any question for the witness?
Honorable colleague, in your view, from where you are sitting, I know you tend to sit on the opposite side of where I am sitting, where our clerk is sitting. Usually that is your seating position. At what point did you anticipate that this situation was getting a bit out of hand?
Honorable Chair, at the point where we wanted to get the vetting to continue, and then the ranking member said they would not allow the vetting to continue. So at that point, I was sitting there watching to see what was going to transpire, whether we'll be asked to end the vetting or not.
So did you make an attempt to, talk to your colleague on the other side to, calm down or stop what they were doing or something?
At that point, I realized the leadership were arguing among themselves. So I sat quietly, looking on and hoping that nothing untoward will happen. Thank you.
Since the appointment committee started this session, have you ever felt there were some undercurrents of maybe intolerance or something like that amongst the committee members?
Thank you. Normally we do meet before sitting starts, and views are heard from both sides. And so most of the time we come to an agreement before we start sitting. So that's what I can say.
Thank you. No further questions for now, Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Honourable colleague, just since the Appointments Committee started sitting, was that the day that you actually vetted the highest number of nominees?
If my memory will serve me right, it would have been that day, but because we didn't continue, and we are all aware that we didn't sit on Tuesday, so we had a backlog that we tried to balance here and there. And so we agreed that for Honorable Akando, so we thought that since he was the one in the chair, we asked him to come in. I'll say the chairman asked him to come in. We thought he would be vetted, but I would say that was the day I think we had the highest number. Thank you.
Did you feel unsafe at any point?
I felt very unsafe, but I had to be calm in my seat. And one thing I want to say is that when you look at this hall and the number of people that come in, if there's any danger, where do you pass? And I didn't know what was going on outside this room, and so I didn't want to risk going out. That's why you saw me seated quietly in my chair. And I would want to add that I'm happy that the rules governing this appointment vetting will be adhered to, because the number of visitors that troop into this room, I mean, it's not the best. And so where you have visitors or guests of appointees or nominees also joining in the arguments, I saw some of them moving from where they were supposed to be and coming around the table, and I don't think that's the best. So if we can consider even the in and out and the number of people coming in, I think it will be the best for us. I really felt unsafe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to ask you, we know among the leadership on the other side, we have one woman who's a first deputy minority leader. Deputy minority leader. She's a woman, and I saw you sitting here. How was her composure in the midst of all the things that were going on? Because you were so close to the scene. Can you describe her composure at that time?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I would be wrong if I can say I can describe it. I don't recall. But she was sitting there, but I cannot say to this committee, unless I go back to watch the video, how her composure was. Thank you.
I ask this question because with all the things that are happening, I thought if leadership of Parliament, we had a lot more women among leadership in Parliament, probably we could avert some of the situation because of the calm nature of women. So, looking at the whole episode on telly, I could see it was just in the midst of the men within, where all these things were happening. So I was asking myself, even though the minority chief whip, he had a phone on, so we could hear all the things that he was saying, but my part was a bit calm. So my expectation was that I was expecting something from, because I always want to advocate for women in leadership position. I was asking myself, what was my part?
Honorable colleague, I want to overrule this one because she's not here, and she's billed to come on. No, she's supposed to be here today. She's not here. But since she's not here physically, I want to beg of you to ask different question.
Chair, the question, because I just wanted to find out the mood, whether you overheard her calming, the leadership of the minority side, because that was my expectation. And because he wasn't on didn't have the mic, so I couldn't hear what she said. So that is what I wanted to find out.
Yeah, say anything at all.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. She was seated, like he said, right in the midst of them, and
the noise.
The noise. So I didn't hear her.
Thank you very much.
I was also seated there quietly, and so. But my one disappointment I had was also how the clerk to the committee was threatened, and I don't think that's the best for us. Having passed the affirmative action bill into law, and sometimes I believe, in as much as the men want us to be mediators or assume that we are calm people and that we need to come in when there are certain situations, I think the men should also consider us and deal with us well.
Well, the minority leader apologizes to us, even on the floor of the House. So, any more questions? Otherwise, we'll discharge.
Thank you, Chair. I think one thing that keeps coming up is the issue of scheduling. And because you're on the committee, I'm going to extend this question to you, but only if you can answer it. Was there any discussion in any of your pre-sittings to modify the schedule based on the fact that you had a backlog to deal with? And was this communicated to the nominees, to your knowledge?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Yeah, we met and then we agreed that we need to modify the arrangements of inviting the nominees because we had a backlog for the Tuesday, and it was agreed. But along the line, since some of the questions went very far, I think the time was of essence. And so, in as much as we agreed, I won't say, I don't know at which point that the agreement broke down. Okay.
If you can recall, what was the agreement with regards to scheduling?
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Chair. What I will recall is, because of the Tuesday, we had the backlog, it was agreed that we'll add some of the Tuesday to the Wednesday, and then some of the Tuesday even to the Thursday. So that's what I can recall.
On that note, I want to thank you so much for attending up on the committee. You are humbly discharged. We'll call upon you when the need arises. Can we have Honorable